Alright guys, brand new Season 7 Diablo announcement.
Which, spoilers, is actually a big deal.
Alright, let's check it
Someone
out.
has stolen heads from the Tree of Whispers, and it is the Wanderer's role to discover the mystery behind who is taking the heads and to what end.
As you progress through the storyline, you work with the coven, and in exchange for your help, they will give you their own powers. And then you can utilize these powers in Season of Witchcraft.
If you're not familiar, the Tree of Whispers is this ancient tree with heads. You can come and ask for favors from the tree itself, but it will ask for something in return.
Notoriously, no one has been able to get out of their deal with the Tree of Whispers until now.
Who is it that's been freeing these heads from the Tree of Whispers? And what are the fugitive heads themselves trying to accomplish now that they're free from the tree?
And these stolen heads are scattered all around Sanctuary, causing chaos and spreading strange rot, taking over the bodies of the living. Head rotten are what happens when a head...
I like the artwork on these. These are really cool.
...to graft itself onto an already living creature to reclaim that life. They retain some of the tree's power. Brambles and roots grow along the inside of these creatures, bursting out and causing them to essentially have a head detach. And they don't mind sacrificing their living victims in their pursuit to live again.
During the course of the Season of Witchcraft, you're going to work with different witches to help solve the mystery of the missing heads.
The witches of Hawazar are a coven of witches and chose to serve the Tree of Whispers in exchange for its power. At this point, hatred is spreading all throughout Sanctuary, and for the first time, it's managed to launch an attack at the Tree of Whispers, and though the tree is still standing, it's definitely worse for wear. And the witches that are bound to the tree have to set things right. Investigate, hunt down these heads, and through gathering strength in their witch powers to deal with the encroaching threat, they will be able to uncover what the mystery is.
There's also these new dungeons too.
The witches
Hopefully they'll show that off.
you their witch powers. And this season you're going to be able to tap into 3 major categories of witchcraft power.
Una has eldritch powers, which are tied to the cycle of life and death.
Eldritch powers are the witch's form of dealing damage directly to enemies in the form of fire damage, burning damage, shadow damage.
Galena has power over psyche, which is illusion and seeing the unseen.
Powers of the mind, will, and soul, and they're the ones that protect you in battle. Growth and decay powers are powers of the swamp.
Caden deals with the body, disease and poultices, familiars.
They're the ones that decay your enemies and heal you in battle.
So you might be going for a fire sorceress, for example, and decide that you want to have ancient mystical frogs helping you in some way. These are going to be things that you're going to play with to get new levels of power and unique builds that really are special to just this season.
Every class can use every power for every build.
There is also lost witchcraft power that can be found while you're adventuring.
This is a special witchcraft power that exists outside the purview of traditional witchcraft powers.
The orbs are
As
actually pretty
players
cool.
progress through the storyline and they complete whispers, they will earn a seasonal currency. This
Okay,
seasonal
so
currency is used
to kind of explain this really quick, because their version is a little bit shorter. So you basically just play and you'll start to level these up, and then if you want to upgrade these will cost these points over here. And pretty much, again, you just play the game. There isn't anything super hard that you do. It's kind of, think of it like the Helltide as far as PTR goes. But pretty much, you just select 5 witchcraft powers, and then you get like an ultimate power over here. One of them is like the Piranha Tornadoes. If you play Diablo 3, it's kind of like that Witch Doctor skill. Pretty cool stuff.
You want to purchase witch powers and also upgrade your witchcraft powers. An example of an eldritch power would be a new power, Doom Orb. An ominous orb of pure eldritch energy that circles you and burns enemies with fire damage. Doom Orb gets stronger as you slay enemies and will eventually explode. Doom Orb will also launch itself at enemies if no enemies are near you. So we do have some returning fan favorites coming back in Season of Witchcraft. Players who are fans of our franchise will remember some of these powers are from Diablo 3, specifically the Witch Doctor. Firebats is returning from Diablo 3. Those who have played the Witch Doctor also remember the Hex skill, the Toad of Hugeness. However, it's been reimagined for Diablo 4 and Season of Witchcraft. This is the Poison Frog Servant.
I just think it's adorable, and I want to have a murderous pet frog follow me through Sanctuary.
Of all the witchcraft powers, something tells me that players are probably going to be the most excited about Piranha. It's effectively a whirlwind of water and chomping piranhas that will just shred your enemies to pieces. And yes, it does pull enemies towards it.
So players will be unlocking and upgrading their various witchcraft powers through performing headhunts. You're going to see that there's an area in the world where the Tree of Whispers.
So yeah, think of it kind of like Headhunts.
Fugitive heads. The head rotten are there.
But like you're doing grim favors in a
a
specific area.
Best case scenario, they horrifically corrupt that monster to become a new headless form of itself. Worst case, they actually affix themselves to a monster and become a new boss-like entity that has this ancient rotting head on top of this now puppeteered body.
There is a horror in them, a sort of Frankenstein-esque monster. So they have more humanoid traits, but even stronger powers.
Like flaming swords they're going to be throwing at you, or they might be using poison axes that are hurled your way, or even shadow spears that tear up the ground. So these are going to be some new encounters that you've never seen before. As you perform various
there are new bosses
area,
too.
Hopefully you see briars out in the world. These are going to indicate that there's a head rotten there. If you manage to successfully take down one of the head rotten and claim a fugitive head, this can be returned to the witches at the Tree of Whispers, and you're going to get special seasonal sockables as a reward.
So, because I don't know if they paused it here long enough for you guys to read it, but these, by the way, will always give you armor and resistances, because normally you'd throw that in, like you'd throw in the skulls and like any of the other like jewels in your like jewelry, right? So these you can have 3 of. You can't put these in your weapon, so these are only in your jewelry slots, and they all give you armor and resistances, so you're not really like losing out on like not running, the normal gems. But you can see what it does over here. While you have 3 or more growth and decay, so each one of like the powers will have kind of like some sort of tag. Think of it kind of like core skills or frost or fire. Like it has its own like little tag, right? But this will give you primary stat, maximum life, and are always unhindered. That's a pretty nice stat to have. But basically, you can select 3 of these. So this is almost kind of like a mix-up between Season 2, which I think is one of the best seasons ever, where you have all the powers that you can choose, like the vampiric ones. And then it's also kind of a mix-up between Season 1, where you could sock in, like, if you guys remember, like, it was called the Barber, right? There are so many other cool gems, but basically this is, again, most of these ones, though, are going to be like number stat, like bonuses, like do more damage on X condition, sort of like crit or something like that. Whereas the other ones, they're more so oriented around like a special new power. Hopefully we can make builds just around the powers, but just wanted to kind of explain it a little more.
And you're going to get special seasonal sockables as a reward. On top of that, there will be some new whispers out there.
I'm hoping all this stuff will kind of stay, though.
Frog, or there might be a lost wisp that needs to find its way home. As you engage in these whispers,
there's also like pet escort missions,
witches, as well as seasonal currency that you can use to unlock and upgrade your witch powers. So we've seen a lot of great feedback from our players on what are the various features that they most want to see in Diablo 4 to make our game even better. One that's come up quite a few times is an armory. When you save a build in the armory, it's going to take a snapshot of everything currently on your character. Skill tree, paragon boards, your glyphs on those boards, and all of your gear. Players will be able to access the armory UI from any major city. You're going to be able to pursue multiple different builds
this
on
is great
class
too,
at the same time.
Especially for the new
this
season
is
stuff.
Pretty cool when leveling up, but it's especially fun once you get into the end game. At that point, whenever you find a cool item that, oh man, this is really strong, but not for the build I'm running right now, oh, but you can still use it. You can still save out separate sets and try to pursue getting really powerful setups of very different versions of your class at the same time. I am excited of what it could feel like to constantly be swapping between these different builds and seeing which one is the most powerful.
I'm excited for people to just immerse themselves in the season.
Me personally, I'm very likely going to be running a companion druid build with the grow power to have a giant werewolf army. Hell yes.
We have a quest line that is different and emotionally gut-wrenching.
New witch powers, fugitive heads, new whispers.
Really interesting bosses that have unique attack patterns.
Uniques, legendaries, and new runes for Vessel of Hatred players.
There's a lot to try out here, some builds that have never been present before. I'm excited to see what players do with it.
Okay, so let me go and give you guys my thoughts on it, because I mostly let it kind of play out. I'll also just kind of have it play in the background over here, while I'll give you guys kind of my thoughts on like this little like a trailer that they showed off. So to be real with you guys, there are new bosses, but I already have gameplay of the bosses. I tested it out before this. I'll link a bunch of these videos down below if you're watching this on TikTok. Just visit the page and you'll find it, or just search for it. I fought the new bosses. I did the new dungeons with the new modifiers that would give you certain things. There's like these like great rewards. There really didn't feel like there are great rewards. Hopefully these will be updated, but the bosses were an absolute cakewalk. There was no challenging forms of content, to be real with you guys. As far as this goes, it's kind of like a Helltide. Now, are the powers cool and unique? Yes, they did a good job there, but just to give some like realistic feedback, the thing is that like at the end of the game, we're still going to be just pushing the pit, and I really wish they focused in on making this challenging to the point where like this is the new end game, not okay, well, you got your power now, because most of these things, by the way, the new bosses, the new like dungeons that they have for these new like headhunts monsters and stuff, you can pretty much face roll most of it. It's just like doing the open world content in Diablo 4 in the current state. Most of those are pretty easy. The challenging stuff is at the pit, which is something we've already done before. So I'm hoping that we can get some big challenging bosses, but the thing is even if they made these bosses super hard, what's the reward? Because the way to get the best items in the game, for the most part, right, the mythic items, is to farm the tormented boss hundreds and thousands of times to try to get that like greater affix to roll on the thing, or get the runes and then craft it. So I'm hoping they can make these maybe have a small chance to drop like mythics, like a more increased chance, because I think it'd be cool for the newer forms of content to be kind of the chase of the end game. Just giving, you know, my 2 cents on it. But you guys can let me know what you think, and there's going to be a blog post that updates us with all of the patch notes, which I'll be covering very soon. But what do you guys think of the season of Witchcraft? Genuinely, seriously, this is looking like one of the best seasons of Diablo ever, because it combines season 2 and season 1 together. I mean, you get brand new skills to play around with too. It's not just numbers. So I like that idea. But again, I wish that we had something to put our powers and our new like things, our new toys, to kind of test and see, you know, what we can do with them. That's what I really want to see with this game. Otherwise, I think a lot of content creators, including myself, will check it out for a week or two, and then we might hop back into PoE. But I'm really looking forward to playing the season regardless. So again, let me know, guys, what you plan to play at the start of the season. I'm definitely going to be going Rogue. They didn't actually explain it in here, but I feel like they should have. There's a lot of buffs to the ultimate skills, so that's why I want to start off with Rogue. We get the Shadow Clone. It does good damage now, so that's something I'll be looking forward to. And this is definitely something that I think should have existed yesterday, but it's really cool because we can swap builds now at the touch of a button. It's going to be very smooth, hopefully, and there's not going to be too many bugs with this system over here, or duping, because I really think that an in-game auction house would have been a really nice feature as well, because if you've traded to try to get like your best in slot for like other builds, it's kind of a nightmare, and it's very annoying because people want quadrillion, billions, and it's like so much gold to the point where like, dude, a player that normally plays the game without busting mom's credit card isn't going to be achieving a lot of these items, because the gold cost is just simply, it's kind of just inflated, unless you also go on the website and sell. So it would be really cool. Even though I like this idea, it'd be even better if we had like an in-game trade, like auction house or something. You guys let me know what you think about that. Or just an official trade website that's like a little bit friendlier to use versus like a third-party website would be nice. Anyways, that's my 2 cents. You guys can let me know yours down below. And again, what class do you plan to play on the new season? Like I said, I'm going to be playing Rogue for sure. Anyways, peace out, guys.